us revolving in your world. That's
whatever. You're high. I don't know what you're talking about.
Whatever. Your world, Gabe's world, Leon's world, all of them.
Yeah. All right.
All
Kick
right,
it off.
everybody. Let's get started over here. I want to welcome everybody. This is the Aries meeting, stands for Alternative Real Estate Investments. We talk about everything having to do with real estate except for tenants and toilets. We want to focus more on making money, and we like to keep this very live, very interactive. If you have questions, don't be afraid to ask them. No question is too dumb. No question is, we're here to work with each other and help each other out. We'll do the best. We'll answer them to the best of our abilities. Okay. And we focus on anything. I don't care if it has to do with wholesaling, fixing, flipping, buying notes, selling notes, tax liens, whatever. Whether you want to know about marketing or, there's some great information you can get from being on these Zoom meetings. If you do love talking about tenants and toilets, there is a separate meeting, which is going to be next Thursday night at Ferrari's Pizza, East Rochester. Starts at 7 o'clock. The networking will probably be about 6:30ish, Andy, something like that.
Yeah. Generally speaking, it just depends on when people start to show up, but typically 6:15, 6:30. No Zoom component, no recorded video, which kind of stinks. But by the same token, it also means you got to show up to get the knowledge. So
yep, you got to be there. Carl Weeks, Beth Short's doing that. Anything and everything you want to know about or talk about with landlording, tenants, that is the place to be. Carl has been doing this for 39 years, and Beth, part of Gallagher Management, they manage 700 properties, and Carl has managed thousands upon thousands.
His ears must have been burning because he just got here. So Carl's here now.
The famous, the man, the myth, Carl Weeks, Mr. Rochester.
Mm-hmm.
He's been doing this a long time. So if you want to know about the tenants, that's going to be next Thursday night. I have no idea if he already has a set agenda for that at all.
I do not know, but maybe he'll tell us since he just hopped in. Carl Weeks, do you have an agenda for your meeting Thursday? Not to put you on the spot or anything and make you turn on your mic and your camera so we can see you and hear you.
Well, if he comes on, we'll get to him.
All right.
We'll let him get set up.
There he is.
Oh,
yeah. What's going on?
We're asking you if you've got. We can't see you. There you go. Now I can see you. Do you have a topic for Thursday for next week?
Yeah. Hold on. Well, I'm gonna. Oh crap! That's right. This is Friday. Hold on a second.
Not Friday.
Today's Thursday.
It's the week before your meeting. That's all.
Yeah. You want it on Thursday and Friday. Yeah, we're going to be talking about rent collections. No, it's not rent collections. It's rent being received. We should not be chasing our rent. So we're going to go over some best practices and some ways that minimizes your time and aggravations to receive rent. We should not be in the business of collecting rent, chasing rent. So we're going to go over that topic, and I'll let you know what I've been doing for many, many years. It works. So that's what we're doing.
Cool.
Perfect.
That will be awesome.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate that. And that's going to be a Ferrari's Pizza, East Rochester. Go to the website. You'll be able to check it out. Next month, there's going to be the main meeting, which is going to be the second Thursday of the month. And that is going to be also at Ferrari's Pizza, East Rochester. The speaker who's supposed to be on tonight, who's part of the co-host here, is Scott Spear. And Scott Spear is going to be talking about storage facilities. And Scott Spear, basically, most of you know, ones you don't know, he's from Rochester. Been in Rochester his whole entire life, had real estate here, sold all his real estate, started buying storage facilities, sold his house, sold everything. They bought a mansion on wheels, AKA an RV, left Rochester about a year and a half ago. I think, has it been almost 2 years?
Not quite. About a year and a half is right, though. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And he's traveled, all they do is travel around the country, take their leisure. And I think he's part owner of what, 12, 13, 14 stores.
He doesn't know, and he says he doesn't know. But I don't believe him. It's probably 14 or 15 at this point, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe Gabe knows. Maybe Gabe will let us in on a secret.
I don't
He's
know.
got 14 that I can count right now. 14,
Got 14.
at least 14.
Does that include Mississippi? Or Missouri? Missouri?
Oh,
Mississippi? I don't remember.
That includes Mississippi. No, that doesn't include Mississippi. That should be this week. So that'd be number
15.
15. Yeah.
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 All right.
So basically, if you want to know about storage facilities, be there. Okay. This is a gentleman who's actually doing it, and just, and he's traveling. He doesn't even go to the state. He just, he's in a position now where he can actually buy them. And obviously works with Gabe there. As you can see, as I buy myself storage. I love that background, Gabe. Love it. But yeah, that's going to be, networking starts at 6:30, starts at 7 o'clock. Oh, actually, is that the one that's going from 5 o'clock? Actually, I remember last time it was at 5 p.m., wasn't it?
Yeah, the networking and food will start at 5, just so people have time to get there after work and hang out and relax. The speaker will start at 7, but people are pretty much welcome to start showing up anytime after 5.
Yeah, there's pizza, tons of pizza, wings.
Yep.
Cash bar, obviously you got to pay for your own drinks, but it's a great time. Last time, I can't remember how many people showed up last month, or actually the previous one. I know I left at 9 o'clock and there was still like 15, 20 people there talking, networking, and strategizing.
So we're getting a question about the dates. So the next one of these meetings that we're in right now will be September 1st. It's a Thursday at the butt crack of dawn. Not really. It'll be at about 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning on Thursday the 1st. And then on the 8th in the morning, Pat Gallagher has a landlord support group meeting that he hosts at Ezzy's on Buffalo Road and Gates. And then on the evening of the 8th will be the meeting that Scott speaks at Ferrari's starting at 5. FFREIA buys food, unless you want to order your own like separate thing, but there'll be, appetizers and pizzas. And then you're on the hook if you want booze or a real dinner. The speaker will start at 7 and we're out of there by 9-ish, but everybody's free to hang out, come at 5, leave at 9, leave at 9:30, whenever they kick us out of the bar. It's all good. And then Carl's meeting is the 25th, which is next Thursday. That's at about between 6:30 and 7. Show up, and that's also at Ferrari's in East Rochester in the Piano Works Mall.
Perfect. Thanks, Andy. I'm terrible with dates.
You're good, man.
And then I don't know if Leon has to go over anything, by the way, before we kick everything off here.
Absolutely.
He's welcome to.
Yeah, absolutely. I can almost disappear into the woodwork behind me. Mr. McQuaid and Mr. LaBarbera have all the dates and everything down so smoothly. So the one thing that I need to talk about is the event that just took place, the picnic. The picnic was absolutely, it was off the hook. It was dynamite, okay? The key thing about it was we had the mirror there. That was important. And then the best thing about that was, and most of the people that's on the call tonight were there, but it was really outstanding. And a lot of kudos go out to all the folks who did all the work to make it happen. And
Which was not me, by the way. It was Leon and Joe. Just saying.
So, but there was a whole group of people that
There was, and Dee was there basically running the show the entire time. And
Yeah,
her cookies as always were amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, she brought some cookies. We brought a whole bunch of cookies. We had food galore. Some of the people, well, people were upset because of the fact that they didn't have enough chicken, but it's a rare place, you know? So,
Well, you know, Carl had burgers and dogs there, and those disappeared before the ribs did. I'm just saying.
Oh,
Those were gone faster than the ribs, which I don't know if that's ever happened before.
yeah,
No.
I mean,
Never happened.
so I know people know that the mayor was there, Mayor Malik Evans. Do people know that Lachey Harris was there? Did you guys see her? And her husband? So Lachey Harris is a city council member. So, and you know, so we counted at like 97 people. There were well over 100. You know, because there were some people that came in, like, no, if I wouldn't have told you guys that Lachey Harris was there, you probably wouldn't even known it. With her husband. And there were people who were there that didn't have name tags, you know, so it was a great turnout. Just try to make it better next time. That's got to be sort of the rule of the road, so to speak. And Mayor Malik Evans said that he's ready to come back next year. So I think it was a great event. Awesome because of the fact, Andy said awesome, but because of the fact that everybody helped, everybody was a part of it. So thank you to everyone. I was supposed to start off my intro with thanks to all the members of Freedom First and and somehow I skipped that part. It must have been because I had Mayor Malik Evans standing next to me and all
No
that
pressure.
stuff. Yeah. So it was a great event. Look forward to doing it again next year. And some people, I just as a quick aside, some people were saying that the ribs were too hot.
Oh, they were perfect. Even the mild ones were nice. I liked it. It was good because they were my speed. Not my
Yeah.
wife's speed, but they were my speed.
I mean, I toned them down at least 1 or 2 notches. You know, if I go to New York City and I serve those ribs the way that they have them on Thursday, I literally get cursed out because they're not hot enough. And believe me, I know it's a fact because it's happened to me before. Why did you mess up the ribs this time? They should have been just like they were before. Why are you toning them down, you know? So it all counts, you know. Depends on who you're with. But a great time, and appreciate everybody being there. And if you weren't there this time, be there next year.
We still
Back
got
to
a
you.
holiday party before the year's out.
Oh yeah, the holiday party will be off the hook as well. So I didn't invite Malik to that, but at least he's exchanging emails with me now, so I can always invite him.
Truth. It's good.
Yep.
All right.
Mr. Lababera.
All right, perfect. And I love those ribs, by the way. So thank you very much for that, Leon. They were fantastic. Oh, man. All right, back on track here. We're going to be doing, actually, I want to see if we like to do really quick. If there's any new people that have not been on here, just do a really quick 30-second intro, name, and what you're looking to do in real estate.
JD, you're on. I'm calling on JD because he's hiding in the corner.
Hey,
There you
JD
go.
Stewart. I'm literally just buying technically my first house, but my second house. We're gonna turn our current home into a rental, and I'm just looking for all options because I'm trying to just make generational wealth.
Great. That's fantastic. Congratulations, by the way. You
Thanks.
got to be excited. I can see the smile on your face.
Oh yeah.
Perfect. All right. Any other new people on there that have never been on there yet or been on there before?
I recognize most of the names. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Looks like Jay unmuted himself, but I'm not sure if he's talking or not. There's a just Jay.
Yeah, I'm unmuted.
There you go. Yeah, I've seen your face.
Yeah, I've been on a few weeks
Okay.
or a couple months. So
Perfect.
Perfect, Jay. Well, welcome back. Perfect. Anyone else here? All right, perfect. Before we get started, we like to do something called haves and wants. Okay. And this is a way to let everybody know, what you're looking for. And at least that way, if we come across stuff, we can say, okay, that person talked about this property or is looking for this type of property. If you don't tell us what you're looking for, we'll find something that'll suit your needs. And I promise you, we'll never call you. And I mean that in a very nice and respectful way. So real quick, just let us know if you have anything you want to sell, anything you're looking to buy. Put it out there, please. I know there has to be people looking to buy real estate. You didn't just come on here to hear me and see me. This is interactive, people. Come on.
Hey, Joe, this is Luis. And as we discussed, my wife and I are just getting started. And we are at the point now, we have built our back office. We're ready to go. And we sent out 1,500, a direct mail to 1,500 absentee owners in several communities here in the Rochester area. We are ready to talk to somebody. If somebody has something to sell, that would be a buy, renovate, sell, or potentially even a 2 or 3 buy, whole, rent. We are ready to talk to somebody. So that's where we are. And I'm setting up meetings with different people. For example, Sharon, you talked about Pat Gallagher. He's going to make a presentation. And I saw him and Beth do a presentation at Ferrari's a couple of weeks ago. And Sharon had went over to their office, and Sharon met with Pat and Beth. And so they're trying to work something out with them. So anyway, we're networking with a lot of folks. There's a fellow that was also there, Norm Sachs. Those of you who know Norm Sachs, we've had coffee with him. And we're going to have coffee with some other folks along the way. But so Sharon and I are ready to sit down with somebody and talk terms and conditions.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Perfect. And by the way, everybody, don't be afraid to put your information, contact number in the chat box so we can all get a hold of each other. The most powerful thing about this group is the networking. Who else is looking? I know there's people looking right now.
Joe, I want to buy self-storage tomorrow and and every other day.
I don't know about you, but I'm shocked.
I know.
I had no idea he needed self-storage. I thought he was looking for single family rentals. I don't know. In New York too.
Well, even New York too. I mean, what the heck, Gabriel Petzios here. Anywhere in the United States, I buy self-storage, any size. I mean, just to give an example of any size or whatever. I mean, I made an offer today of one in Kentucky, or is it Kansas? One of the K's, and one in I got numbers for one in Missouri that we're going to look at. Another one in Nebraska I'm waiting for. So anywhere in the U.S., it's wherever. Again, any size and any size and anything. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's dirty, clean, turnkey, value add. If the numbers work, the numbers work. And we'll do whatever we can and do the best to drive it home and deliver the product. So that's what me and my beloved partner Scott do, Scott Sperry, and so I'll put my number and name and number in the chat box. So please, again, anywhere in the United States, even Alaska, I don't care. I'll buy it. And I'm serious.
So I have a question for Gabriel. Hey, Gabriel. So how do these deals find you, or how do you find them? I mean, you're all over the country.
Carl, that's a great question, because I'm going to touch. I want Gabe to talk about that. Okay. Because it's a subject that I want to sort of go over, getting prepared. Okay. That is a fantastic question, and Gabe's going to kick that off. Okay. So hold on to that thought, Gabe.
Okay, okay.
Everyone's wondering how you find these deals, and it's the exact same way you can find real estate deals here locally.
Okay.
Okay, so hold off. All right, who else has have-wants? Christmas is like 19 or 20 Saturdays away. Come on, what's your wish list here? Talk to them.
I put in the chat, Joe, so I have a couple buyers that anybody has major rehabs or fire damage properties, I have ready buyers for those. I'm in the chat with my phone number, so if you run across a fire job, rehab, they're out there, so.
Carl, the rehab people, will they do city and suburbs, or just which type of areas are they going into?
Both.
So it doesn't matter, both? Okay.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
I'm looking for a 4 or more family to invest in. I have one already, so would prefer Ontario County, but if there was a good one in Monroe, I would look at that. Thanks.
Perfect. All right. Who else? I know there's more than 3 or 4 people looking on here.
Yeah, well, I buy multifamilies, 2 to 4 right now. I might start buying bigger ones in the future. Right now I'm in the middle of doing rehabs. So right now all my cash is going to the rehabs at the moment. After I'm done with the rehabs, then I'll start buying more properties. So don't need anything right this second, but in a month or 2, I'll be looking again.
Perfect. What areas are you looking, by the way?
Right now in the city,
Okay.
I own,
right.
I have about 17 units now, so I gotta, want to ramp that up, to a lot more.
All right. Perfect. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm looking to buy an apartment complex, Country Manor to be exact. So if anyone knows if they're selling, let me know.
I can tell you they're not selling, but if they were going to sell, it would be now north of $36 million. Just saying.
I'm still
27.5 was the sticker on that thing.
Oh, geez.
I'm still mourning over that deal.
Well, you didn't have to spray your shoes to get rid of roach eggs the other day. So
For $36 million, I would gladly let them hatch. I'll stay outside.
killing me.
Just kidding.
Killing me.
All right. All right. I know I'm looking for, I do commercial, residential, singles, multis. I do city, suburbs, and obviously I'm also looking storage and also industrial type real estate. Okay. That's my Christmas wish list. Anyone else? Everybody's good? All right. By the way, again, I know I've said it before. This is designed to educate each other and help each other out. So we like to keep this very interactive. So if you have questions, anything you want to go over or anything you want to talk about, please, feel free to speak up. Okay. And also some of the things we're going to talk about will answer questions for you and maybe raise more. Okay. So don't be afraid to again, ask. Okay. I want
something. I don't know if it's a little off topic. It's about Airbnbs.
Well, can I ask you? Well, actually, all right, we'll do that this time. Then we'll get to Gabe's question real quick there. So go ahead.
I guess the whole process and the business model of having an Airbnb or actually leasing to someone that is going to do the Airbnb functions. Does anybody have any experience with that or know anything about that?
I'm not doing Airbnbs. I don't know if anyone else is. I know there's people in the group that do a lot of Airbnbs. I don't know if they're on right now. Is anyone?
I mean, obviously, it's just another real estate investment thing, and absolutely do Airbnb. And there are a lot of folks that's part of the organization that do Airbnb. It's not a, unmute myself. It's not one of those things that is a 5-minute discussion is going to get you the answers that you need. It's something that has quite a level of involvement associated with it. Most of the people who are doing Airbnb do Airbnb arbitrage versus some of the things that the city is talking about requiring, where you need to live in the property if you're going to be doing Airbnb in the city. Now, don't get me wrong, that hasn't passed yet, but that's one of the things that the city of Rochester is proposing to do. So Leslie, more specifically, what is your exact question?
Well, actually, I have a property I just listed for rent, and I got a couple of people actually from this group that came, applied, saying, and they're kind of running the Airbnb type of business.
Where's
So I would be
where is it
leasing to
located?
them, and they would be running it.
Is it Earl?
Earl is one. He mentioned you, Leon. I was thinking of giving you a call later on. And the other one is Peter Ross.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Earl asked the similar type of question that you did in the meeting in January associated with Airbnb. And I didn't feel really comfortable with sort of answering it directly. So I called Earl afterwards. And that call led to him doing Airbnb, just so you understand the power of this group. It ended up with him doing Airbnb, and right now he has more than 30 Airbnb units.
Since January.
Since January. And because what I did was I said, okay, I didn't say anything, let me call Earl. So I called him on the phone and I told him who to talk to and I told him what to do, and there you go.
I will
Okay.
say that you need,
So can I give you a call later?
understand your market. And Leon, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there are people on this call like me that have done Airbnb for about 3 years. Not to that large an extent as Earl has, but yeah, you know, we do it. The person that wants to remain nameless like he normally does, he doesn't like until you don't do anything with tenants. So everybody who knows him know who he is. I've given you enough information. So, but yeah, we can, if you want some more specific detail, we can further talk about that. I mean, the thing about Airbnb, if you're looking at it from the standpoint of the person who's renting the property out to the possible tenant that happens to be doing Airbnb. So this is Airbnb arbitrage. That's a difference between the two things that I just mentioned before. And so if you do Airbnb arbitrage, I mean, certainly, you know Earl, I know him pretty well. And you, from that perspective, hopefully feel comfortable with him. When we were at the picnic that I mentioned earlier, even if you count the mayor in that group, of the people that I talked to Earl more about Airbnb than I did anybody else. So, so we can talk offline around your specific question unless you want to ask them now. I don't think that there's anyone else who had exposure to Airbnb. I mean, it's one of the hottest things going nowadays from a real estate investment type vehicle. I mean, it's almost the same as wholesaling was back in 2000 and, Joe, what was that, 2007, 2008?
10, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yeah. I was talking about the property, one of the first properties you did a wholesale deal on in 2000, I'm pretty sure it was 2007 or 8. And that's the property on Kislingberry that you sold to me via wholesale, and sold it, you know, roughly 15 years later for no more like 13, 14 years later for 5 times what we paid for it.
Love it.
Yeah, so Leslie, you can give me a shout or give Earl a shout. I mean, Earl is, I'll be able to answer any question that you got.
Okay.
If you got a specific item that you want me to address.
Okay, I'll give you a call later.
Okay,
It's
But
definitely
should
a
I
good
call
way
you
to make
tomorrow,
money.
or will tonight be too late, or should I call you tomorrow?
tomorrow would be better. And if I can't talk to you, I'll give you a call back.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Perfect. I want to get to, Carl was asking Gabe a fantastic question. And I get people ask me that too. How do they get properties in different areas? And actually, Carl, I'll let you finish asking the question to Gabe. Is he still muted?
He is at the moment, but I'm sure he's hearing us and going, oh, I need to turn my camera on and my mic. So he should be doing that shortly.
Don't trip, Carl.
I think he's multitasking as
He
usual.
probably is.
All right, well, I'll do it. So basically, Gabe, Gabe and Scott, they buy storage facilities all over the country. And Carl wanted to know how the heck he's doing that. And just so that way, people think, well, I buy houses, I don't buy storage facilities. How is that going to relate to me? Okay, it does, because exactly what Gabe is doing and what other people are doing, they're doing the exact same thing to also acquire properties. I'm also doing it. Do you have to do that? No, it's for people who are a little bit, you have to be more advanced, maybe not, whatever, but I just want you to hear exactly what Gabe is doing. So Gabe, tell everybody your secret sauce and what you do. And by the way, his work ethic is insane.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yes,
No.
it is.
Gabe might be like ADHD or OCD or something, because he's a psycho.
I think I'm, and OCD combined, so I don't know.
That is definitely possible.
Yeah. And Gabe, by the way, how many storage facility deals have you done so far?
Like closed on?
Yeah, well,
Or
between closed on and having the mix right now. And you started about a year ago, maybe, with stores.
a year ago this month, yeah.
Okay.
So we closed on 2, we lost 2. And I know you got to move on. You lose some deals, and that's the nature of the beast. But we closed on 2. We're gonna close on another one hopefully next month. And I got 3 more. I think 3. Did I say 3 earlier? 3 in the mix right now that I'm working on right now. I mean, I submitted an offer today to this one place in, I think it's Kentucky. And so I'm waiting for him to get back to me on his response, or his counter offer, I should say. And I'm going to do numbers tomorrow on another one in Missouri. So, there's plenty in the mix that I'm hoping on. Now, I'm not going to get all 3 properties. Well, let me rephrase that. It's okay if I just get 1, because that's just the way it is. No one's going to get everything. I mean, that is the mentality to have. And I do have that mentality, because I'm going to have 100 by the time I'm like 50 in 3 years. So it doesn't matter. So, but you're never going to get that. But then that's okay. So 1, 2, 3, 5. So let's just say 5 working right now.
Okay. And just so people realize, these deals have a lot more zeros and sometimes 2 commas in them. So just understand, compared to when you're doing single families or 3s or 4s or 5s or whatever. Okay. So how are you getting, and what are you doing to get these storage facilities?
Okay. Well, as far as here's the deal. It's I know I shouldn't do it, but maybe I should, but I kind of cherry pick. So I have a map on my wall, And as we know, the map's divided, or the map of the United States is divided into Northeast, Southeast, Midwest, West, and so on. And they're all color coded. So in the morning, I look at the map and I say, okay, I want to do that section today. And I have a spreadsheet already done with my demographics. Now, the thing is, though, most people, what they do with their demographics, they say, you know, and I'm really to storage, is they want to go from 1,000 people in an area to 10,000 people. I say go all the way to 50,000 people. And this is why I say this, because even though it might be a primary, secondary market, there's always a deal to be found. When I see a deal to be found, there's always that mom and pop in that area. Their market might be oversupplied, but there's always a deal that can be found that you can get it for not next to nothing, but to make the numbers work in both parties' favors. There's always something out there. There's 19,000 cities in the United States. There's no way that I'm going to cut myself short just because someone said 1 to 10,000 people and that's it. You know, I mean, give me a break. You know what I mean? So,
and not to interrupt you, just so that way you know. And I love what Gabe just said. Gabe said there's always a deal to be had. Now understand, there's probably, I don't know how many tens of thousands of houses compared to a storage facility that's out there. Okay, so just I want people to understand is that, you know, when you're looking for residential properties, whether you're doing the way Gabe does it, or whether, I know Gabe also makes his phone calls and things like that, just put that into context. Because for every, I don't know, what do you think, Gabe? Every tens of thousands, there's one storage facility.
yeah.
And he's finding deals. So you've got tens of thousands of times more chances to find properties out there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't know, and I apologize for interrupting you, but
It's okay.
when you said that, I was just like, oh man. So go ahead. Sorry.
So once I have what area I want to target for the day, or yeah, just for the day for now, I go on Google, and Google is my bread and butter for that aspect, because I go on Google Maps and I plug in the city, and then of course Google Maps, you can do the area. So once I do that, I look at all the storage facilities in the area, and I'm like, and I look and see which one I like. I'm like, I don't like it because a lot of the storage facilities might have a house attached to it, or might have this. There's a lot of nuances and stuff like that that I don't want to get into right now, because, you know, but the bread and butter of it, the nuts and bolts of it, is that if it looks good, if it's like, you know, if the size looks pretty good, or if it's like, you know, 5,000 square feet plus it looks like it has 3 acres of land, then I'm going to go after it. So what I do, but I'm really anal, like Andy says, he's right, is I like to put all the information to my CRM. Like, I want to know square footage, who the person that owns it, who owns the place, how many acres of land is, any kind of tax records I can find, because when I call that person, I have all the information in front of me. So if they ask me questions and fire questions at me, I can just fire back at them and pretend I know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to sound like a fool on the phone. And because that gets me deal. And that starts the relationship too, by the way, is when you sound like you know what you're talking about, when you know what you're talking about, because you have the information, the guy, they're impressed. Like, I had this one guy the other day, the one I'm dealing with in Nebraska, is like, I'm really impressed with your knowledge. I'm impressed with the market of the knowledge of the market area, you know, and he goes, let's do business, you know. So that's how it begins. And so once I have all the measurement of the roof, square footage of the roof and stuff like that measured, I just, for that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you know, and it just pops in, and I just, my CRM, I just load it up in my HubSpot. And for that day, that's how many calls I'm going to make. And I just use this thing right here. That's it. You know, my iPhone. And I just call. And if they don't answer, well, guess what? I'm calling you next week and next week. And if they say no, and by the way, the people that say no today, I'm calling them in 3 months. So my fallback was I used to call them every 6 months. Bad mistake. I know, Joe, I know. So now I call every 3 months. And I learned from that mistake. And I'm going to tell you why, though. Because I called someone last week from Texas, 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry. And I called her, it was 6 months, you know, January or so, or no, February, March, when I called her last. She said no last time. But she said today, the day I called her 2 weeks ago, she said, you know what? I want to see what my children are going to do. And I'm going to, and I want you to give me a call in another few months, which to me translates to 2 months, because I'm going to come every 2 months to see and check in on them. Matter of fact, I had another guy in Arkansas who he didn't want to go through the deal. He didn't want to go through the sale. But I called him today because it's on my calendar to call him today. And I said, hey, Russell, this is Gabe Petzos. Remember me from New York? He's like, oh, yeah, you're the guy. I'm like, guess what? I want to sell the facility before the market takes a dump. So we got to get going on this. So call me in a few months and we'll see what we can do and start get going, you know? So, that's how it works, man. And these people understand, because I'm sorry if I'm going off tangent or not right now, but a lot of people think that, and I'm finding that a lot of people, when I'm calling, they want to sell their facilities for like a astronomical price, like a 4 or 5 cap. They think they can get that. I can own a finance properties at maybe a 7, 8 cap. But the thing is, though, what's going to happen is that they're going to find out too late when the market takes a dump in 3 months. Guess what? You're going to be calling me, because your $1 million property is now worth 750, maybe 600. So yeah, so that's why you got to keep at it, because things change.
Now, Gabe, what I let you touch upon a couple things. Number one, know the market, know the area. Okay, like when it and relating that also, because I do the exact same thing also with properties here locally. Before I call a house, I'll go on Google Maps. I'll look at it. I'll see where the area is. Is it A, B, C, or D type area, good area, bad area, whatever. So that way, when I call them, just like you, they're like, okay, this guy, oh yeah, because I'll say, oh yeah, matter of fact, I know you're right by this street over here. Well, as a matter of fact, I can say that if maybe, if other people have done houses around that area, you say, yeah, I did a house back then. I used to live over there. I know the area. Mm-hmm. So it adds credibility. Okay. And it doesn't matter if you're calling on a $30,000 house or a $5 million storage facility. Okay. Those practical applications are always the same. And, I've had people call me up, say, hey, I want to buy your house or whatever. And I'm like, and they're like, well, yeah, and I could tell that they know nothing about the area, nothing. And I'm like, okay, this guy's not serious because he didn't do any research. At least know the streets around it. Well, wait, where is that? I thought that was over there. Red flag. I know he's not serious. He's fishing. Okay. Yep. And we've all done it. I've done it. Okay. So in regards to what Gabe is doing, he's already prepared. And by the way, when I did that calling on some of the storage facilities, and I was like, knew nothing, but I just prepared myself. And I'll never forget it. I think it was like the second or third call. They were like, wow, sounds like to me you know your stuff. And I'm like, oh, I know. I was just prepared. And the exact same thing here when it comes to locating and finding a property and talking with the seller. I don't care if it's commercial or residential. Okay. And so I love what Gabe is doing as far as for getting prepared. And Gabe, when you did that, compared to the first time when you called, were you as prepared the first time?
No, short answer, no. I was nervous, a nervous wreck. I mean, I honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. I actually fumbled it a lot. And I honestly got the second call I made, which was the second property I closed on. It was dumb luck that she wanted to sell and at a lower price. I mean, I got real lucky there, and I didn't know what to say, but she's like, yes. I actually said, do you want to sell? She's like, yes. I'm like, yes, what? Like short, like keep talking, say something to me, and man, I thought I was going to shit in my pants when I heard that first yes, I mean, I'll be honest with you, but it was, the more and more I went along and the more, it's all about experience, of course, as we all know. And it gets easier. And like Scott, like he's travels around the country. He's like, I'm going to give you this property, he drives for dollars. I said, give them all to me now. I'll call tomorrow. Well, no, just give it to me now. I don't even care anymore. I'm like, I don't care where it is. I'll make the call. Well, it looks like a REIT. I don't care. I'll find out. So nervousness, it's going to happen. But I think the more and more I don't know if it's related to if you close on a deal or not, but I think it's more related the more and more you talk to people, because generally speaking, most business for facility owners, they're pretty nice. 98% of the time, I get really nice people. They like to have conversations. I get some jerks, but what are you gonna do? It is what it is. So
now Gabe, now, by the way, Gabe does something that I do also. Like we'll call, some people drive for dollars. We call for dollars or text or email or, whatever. And I know Gabe has gotten, I don't know how many phone calls you've made, but
I didn't even know.
yeah. And so Gabe, what happens most of the time and what do you do?
They say no, or I'm not interested today. And I put it and I hang up and dial the next number. Until, I put the details of the call, of course, because they might say, no, not today. Well, not today means yes, tomorrow. So that's what it means to me. So guess what? I'm calling you in 3 months or so, So if they say hard no and they start swearing at me, okay, I'll let that one go. But guess what? Move on and move on and move on and just keep at it and keep at it. And don't stop. Don't give up. Don't give up. Why? Who cares if they say no? Where are they gonna hurt your feelings? Just go. Keep going. Keep moving.
Yeah. And Gabe, I know I've gotten yelled at over the phone. I'm sure other people, and by the way, people, don't be afraid to chime in if you've gone through this. Okay. But I've gotten yelled at in person, being at the property, on the phone, by email, whatever. It all happens. Don't take it personally. And we just, a couple. Perfect example is a week. I talked about it the last call we did. I went to a lady's house, and I don't know if it's Jay. Jay, you may have to mute yourself. I'm hearing noise from you. Oh, all right. So basically, I went to her house, and she wanted an exorbitant amount of money. It was worth not even half. And she was very nicely basically told us to get out of her house. And then she put it up on the MLS, and they've already dropped the price, and they're still dropping it and still dropping it. So it's going to happen, and some people, I've literally had people tell me, you know what, get out of my house. And I was being very straightforward with them about the price of the property, but they just didn't want to hear it. And
Just to build on what Gabriel said about not today means tomorrow. And he's absolutely right. I used to negotiate labor agreements on behalf of the company across from the UAW, the Teamsters, the electrical workers, the iron workers, and all that. And there was a cardinal rule on my side of the table on behalf of the company. We never say maybe, because maybe means yes. And if we said maybe, they would record it in the minutes and they would say that we agreed to the deal. We agreed to whatever the clause was that they were looking for, whether it's benefits or pay or wages. So we never, on this side of the table, we said no, until we said yes to something. But it was always no, there was never a maybe, because maybe means yes.
Yeah, thanks, Luis. You're right. Yeah. And by the way, Gabe, the deals you're doing, can you still hear me, Gabe?
Yeah.
All right. And by the way, everybody, so you know, these are multi 6+ figure deals that Gabe's doing. Okay. They work and they work on 5,000. I mean, I know because, like for me, we also do, we reach out to smaller properties and bigger properties the exact same way. It just works. It's a matter of being consistent. Do you have to go about by making calls? And I know it involves lists and things like that. Not everybody can do that. It's just what I like about what Gabe is doing is that no matter what, he's extremely persistent, and he does it as soon as he gets something, he calls. He's on it right away. And the thing is that, the market, everybody knows, has been changing. So deals, there are a lot of properties out there for sale. It's just some of them still living back 6-7 months ago when the prices were pretty crazy. And a lot of them some of them are starting to come to their senses. We're still finding deals out there, but they're few and farther in between. And there's a ton of competition. You got to go up against people that have the work ethic of Gabe. Okay. And so it's like, okay, what are you doing differently? Somebody else is relaxing. I know Gabe is making calls. no matter what. I know he's making calls, he's doing something. So, you know, and you have to be able to, you know, a few months back, the deals were plenty. People were buying properties, you know, you had to find them, but we didn't have to worry about people buying them because people were buying them sight unseen. Okay. Now the market has changed. So now it's T and C, time and circumstances has been hitting people, you know, basically changing their minds on prices. So it's going to give us the opportunity to be able to find great deals. At the same time, they have to be, before we were able to buy the properties, no matter pretty much at least at a semi-decent price, we always know we'd make money on it. Okay, well, it'll go over, we'll still make up for it. I don't like doing that. That's gambling, first of all. Now you have to make sure that you're buying it at a great price, because on the back end, you're not going to be getting all these people going in super high prices anymore. So it has to work numbers wise. And, you know, and by the way, before we continue here, does anyone have questions about some of the things that Gabe was going over?
Well, Joe, it's not a question, if you don't mind. I just want to piggyback on Gabriel's experience. I just want to share my experience on exactly what Gabriel's doing, and anybody else, you know, that's thinking about this going down into the future here. So many decades ago, I did that. What we call planting the seeds. That's what we do. We plant the seeds. Fast forward, I mentored a upcoming investor. Joe, you know his name. I won't mention him. And that, you know, that's exactly what he was doing, making the calls, reaching out, planting those seeds. And it takes time. There's frustration there. There's disappointment. There's like,
oh my God,
you know, there's a lot of that. Oh man, it's very stressful. And I kept saying, plant the seeds. You'll see what happens. They don't see that. I've been there. And so it was funny. I checked up on him 3-4 years. Girl, what the freak happened? I got more deals I know what to do with. Plant the seeds. And that's what happens out there. It starts with that. It works. That hustle does work. Gabe, thanks for sharing your
yeah.
process. Yeah.
You know, and if I may for a minute, I gotta tell Carl, I love that, because I know I appreciate your all of you guys for giving me credit and stuff like that, and I do hustle, I work my ass off, but I bitch at Scott almost every week. I'm like, dude, I get frustrated. I'm still stressed out because I'm still planting my seeds. Okay, even though I'm working my ass off and getting it done, I'm still planting those seeds, which means I still get stressed out some days, and because like today, I mean, today was ended up being a good day, but first part of my day is like all no's. I was like, F you people, all no's. I'm like, what, you know, I'm like, and I just get frustrated and I want to quit. I mean, some days I'm like, I tell Scott, I'm like, Scott, guess what? I'm gonna go. He's like, what are you gonna do? Cook? Go back to the restaurant? What are you, nuts? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, no, keep at it, you know. So you know, Carl brings up a very great point. Just keep going, because I got this. Another, if I may, for an example, the land that we're buying in Tennessee, I'm sorry, wholesaling in Tennessee, the guy owns a facility, and he said to Scott, when I want to go and sell my facility, I remember Gabe's name. I'm going to call him to buy my facility. That's seed was planted right there, you know, and that's the relationship that was built, because I was with him, I stuck with him, you know, we're still going at it, and it's right there, and now it's going to turn into a flower, into a garden or something like that, because guess what? I'm going to have another property under our belt, so to speak, because of that seed that was planted. So yeah, that's awesome, Carl. Thank you for that. That's great. Thank you so much.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
How do those phone calls go typically? Like an example of a phone call, because I'm like very new to this.
Okay. When I pick up the phone and I don't know residential if you're necessarily going to talk to the homeowner or a 5-year-old kid, but Joe knows better. But when I Angela, when I call, it's either a manager or someone that's just there or the owner. And regardless of who it is, I just introduce myself and I tell them. Sometimes I tell them actually still tell them where I'm calling from, so they know upstate New York near Buffalo or something like that. And they're like, and I just get right into it. The reason for my call is I'd like to know if you ever thought about selling your facility. And they pause, and I catch them off guard because they weren't expecting that phone call. They think I'm a tenant that wants to rent a 5x10 or 10x10 because they'll answer any area code almost all the time because, well, maybe someone just moved into the area. But when I say, do you want to sell your facility today? Or have you thought about selling your facility? They're like, now that you mentioned it, I'm like, let's talk. And then we start talking, So you got to catch them off guard because, again, they're not expecting that call. Even though I'm interrupting their day, they want to kind of like say, kind of get their juices full. I'm like, oh, well, let's see what we can do. And I love I always get it all day. Anything's for sale. Yeah, sells a chocolate bar chair. Let's go. I mean, come on. I know that. So, come on. Everything's for sale. Well, yeah, I know. So I'm calling you. So, but that you just gotta catch them off guard and just dive right into it. Don't know more how's the weather. No, you want to sell yesterday. I need to know right now. And I'm as nice as possible. I swear I am. But in a respectful way, there's a way to get it done by being quick and respectful. There's a way to get it done. Hope that answers your question.
And if I can add on to that, whenever I make phone calls to talk to homeowners and things like that, like, again, I mean, I did it today. I have 2 more to do tomorrow. And I'm calling on tomorrow morning, and I'll say, hey, listen, either like sometimes they'll make an initial contact. Hey, my partner reached out to you, say my person possibly selling your property, or if it's something I'm just calling out of the blue, I'm like, hey, listen, it's depending what the situation is. If it's a house that I drove by and I saw that it needed work, or if it was boarded up or had signs on it, said, hey, listen, I drove by the property over there. I actually own other properties. I buy properties in that area there. I don't say invest. Never use the word investor. It has a very negative connotation. Take it out of your language. It's like swearing in church. Okay. Because to them, buy low, sell high. I buy properties in that area there. I saw your house was vacant. I saw your house was boarded up. I was wondering if you might be interested in possibly selling the property. Okay. That way, when I tell them, I don't tell them I buy houses in that area just to impress them. It automatically adds credibility. Oh, this guy buys properties. Oh, so automatically it just gives the connotation of, hey, this guy already has experience. Okay. And so there's no set way to talk to people. You're dealing with humans. Some people, I've had people tell me, well, Joe, tell me every possible, objection you're going to get. It's impossible. You're not going to do that. You can't. So that's how I start the conversation, depending on what it is. If it's a commercial building, it's a little bit different.
Yeah.
So I assume you're focusing on residential. Oh, I think you said yes. I can't tell.
As for right now, yes, but I'm definitely open to everything in the future. I don't want to close off to anything, and this is awesome
Perfect.
information. Thank you.
Perfect. By the way, anyone have any questions? We don't just have to talk about this topic also either. Just because I know we want to keep this interactive here. Don't be afraid. All right. So one of the things that I have been getting, I'm sure everybody else has been getting calls on and have been talking about is, and we touched upon it, and one of the reasons why I wanted Gabe to talk about how persistent he is the changes that's been going on in the market. Okay. The amount of people going after properties when the market was doing great and interest rates were 2% and 3%, there were a lot of people out there, a lot of people buying. Didn't matter if you had a little bit of experience or a lot of experience, you had a pretty good chance of making money. Okay. Things have shifted. things have changed. I've talked to other investors. They're obviously not, their inventory isn't as high as it was before, because a lot of people are just sitting there waiting and they're being very patient. And I know other people who are not being patient. And for some of the people that I talk to, they're being persistent in regards to seeking out properties. Okay, Gabe does his phone calls. There's other people out there who reach out to people, do their marketing, do the standard things. Okay, now it's gotten to the point now where the amount of deals that are out there aren't as plentiful. So you got to find them or you got to make them. Okay. There's people out there right now that are going to be searching for people like us. The last meltdown that happened, my business took off like a rocket ship. And it wasn't because I was trying to feed on their misfortune. It was at that time, along the rest of us here, we can be the light at the end of their tunnel. Okay. And in this market, you're going to get frustrated, just like Gabe does. And remember, for every tens of thousands of houses, there's one storage facility. One. Okay. So whenever, and there's times where I thought about all these other people who go after houses, and I've gotten frustrated. And then I think about, okay, these guys are going after storage facilities, apartment complexes. There's a small slice of the pie, and they're able to do it. You know, we're going after the big portion of the pie here. So being very consistent with, I don't care if you have to make the phone ring. And what I mean by that is that you have to get out there, you have to call. Like yesterday morning, I picked up the phone and I called a real estate agent, one I hadn't talked to in a few weeks. And lo and behold, there's a guy who has a property, he moved, can't sell it. He needs to get rid of it. It's in Greece. I want the house. Okay. And I made the phone ring. Basically, I picked up the phone and I called. Okay. I know I can't be the only one that's made some changes in regards to locating properties or trying to find properties. So by the way, because I want to find out what some of you are doing because of what's been happening with the market. Is anyone, I want to hear from some people here. What are you guys doing? Because I want the rest of the group to see what exactly some of us are doing.
Unrelated to, well, very related to real estate, but not related to properties. There are a lot of very big investors on the equity markets and stock market side that are extremely nervous, to the point where one of my Australian bank customers is actually flying to the States and doing a grand tour in September, and they're flying me to DC for meetings on their dime, paying for my travel time, not just my flight, my hotel, and everything else. Like, it's going to cost them close to $5,000 for a 1-hour meeting with me. And they don't care. They are panicking because the market is not, like, housing has hit a brick wall.
Yep. Now, are they panicking because they can't find it, or prices have dropped?
They're panicking because construction on new home starts and renovations have hit a brick wall because people can't afford to finance it. So they're freaking out because they know there's a housing shortage, and they expected the shortage, the 4.8 million units that need to be developed in the next 2 years or 3 years, whatever that magic number is, are now not happening. And the builders are taking margin hits. And so building materials are about to take margin hits, which means stock market's about to take a hit because profits are going to drop.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be buckle up. That's what I'm going to say. Buckle up. It's going to be entertaining.
It's going to be that. And all this is going to culminate to massive, massive opportunities. massive amount of opportunities. But
So Joe, if I may ask a question related to that, and I'd like to go back to what Andy was saying a little later, but because I keep hearing about the private equity firms that are just scooping up things left and right, but something much more mundane. I was across the table from a very nice real estate agent, and a lot of you are licensed agents. I'm not, and I don't plan to be. But what I tried to convey was that I wanted to find a house without an agent because that's really my first opportunity. If an agent gets in the way, then I got to negotiate through the agent, and I don't have to tell you that. Well, she didn't like that, and so what I was trying to do was this sounds very simplistic, maybe even dumb at the moment, but I was saying to her, look, if you send me a lead for a house that she doesn't want to represent, in other words, the house needs repair, needs whatever, and she says like, she's too busy for that. So I said, well, give me the lead and I'll reward you with a listing. Okay. In other words, when I fix it, and then the moment I sign to buy, you're the listing agent. She didn't like that. She said, no, I get my cut in the front and I get my cut in the back. So did I mess it up? I mean, that to me, that little exchange there over coffee was a little bit of a jolt to me because I'm inexperienced. So how would you guys have reacted? Would you have said what I said, or how would you react to what she said?
let's see what other people would have said. Anybody want to answer that for Louise? We got some shy people on tonight. Here's the thing. 99% of my properties I get are off market. Okay. I do get some stuff from realtors. Realtors are a great source of properties. Once you get in with them and they get to know you, don't just call them once. Okay. Get to know them, be that itch that they can't scratch. Oh, I got to call Luis. I got to call Luis. I got to call Luis. I tell them that. I had a realtor who brought me a property in Henrietta. We just signed the paperwork last night. It's a short sale because she couldn't do anything with it. And I told her if we get it, because typically, I'm not a realtor, but the gentleman who would do it with, he's a real estate agent. And typically he'll sell them. But I told her, I said, listen, if we get it, I'll let you list it. And she was fine with it. Some of them don't mind not getting something on the front end. A lot of times I'll pay them anyways. I let them know, because obviously, they have to feed their families and pay their bills and everything else. So I try to make it as advantageous as possible for me. I've had real estate agents and conversations I have with them. It's like, you bring me a deal, you can keep the whole full 6% shot. My partner's a realtor, but we won't touch it. The commission will be all yours. And I've had real estate agents call and say, Joe, I called you because I know you're going to give me the full 6%. And they like that and they respect that. And I have that conversation with them going in right up front. And that just makes it for a much nicer relationship. Okay. And then again, you're also finding stuff off market via this group also is one of the ways too.
Thanks.
All right.
If I could ask Andy about the private equity firms and so forth. I saw a headline that some company in New Jersey paid like $20-some million for a complex here in Rochester. I just like 10 days ago or something. And what I see in sort of the media is that, BlackRock and some other companies like that are buying up real estate in Rochester. And I'm thinking, well, they're not going to do the kind of like boots on the ground work. This is my theory. They're not going to do the kind of work that we're all doing in this room, the folks that are around this table. They're going to do something like they'll spot a 100-unit complex or even bigger, and then they're going to pay, $15, $20, $30 million for that. I'm not in that market, so I'm no threat to them, and to me, they're no threat to me. Is that how is that for an approach? Am I completely off base, or does that make any sense?
So they are paying more than asking typical, because there is a tight market, and they don't really care what they pay right now because they realize that they have the opportunity to raise rents and gain equity through just rent rolls. But they're coming in, and typically the stuff that like BlackRock is seeing, they do have salespeople and reps on the ground in Rochester. They have another company name right now that they're using. It's another firm in Florida, and they also have, they'll also back the dollars and not necessarily own directly. So they're spending money everywhere, secondary and tertiary markets, build for rent, buying tracks from spec builders that are just throwing up houses. They build 100 houses a year, 3 different styles. They'll buy a whole track if it's sitting there available. Like, they don't care. They'll do the game, and they'll make the money back in the long term, from their standpoint. But they're not doing the same kind of deals because they're not seeing the off market stuff. They're not getting people coming to them and saying, hey, I have this, I want to sell it. They have people actively looking, but they're partnering. When they get a deal that's off market, they're partnering with someone else and supplying funding on the backside with all the rules and regulations that go into doing a deal with BlackRock. So it's a little bit of a different approach, but they basically have bottomless pockets. So it's an attractive approach. And I'm not sure if they're like scooping up stuff from other banks that's close to foreclosure, like pre-foreclosure, multifamily, or anything like that. I don't know exactly what they're looking at because I haven't been following specifically what they've been doing super closely, but they did come to a meeting, a FFREIA online meeting. And when we told them they had to join the REIA to actually do what they wanted to do, the guy was like, what do you mean? And we never heard from him again. I think Leon had that conversation with him, and the guy was all freaking bent out of shape. So
that's funny. They got trillions of dollars, but they don't have enough. They don't have $219 to join, right?
Yeah, basically.
And Andy, I was reading an article where a lot of those, I think they were talking about, was it Blackstone or I can't remember what they're called there. So a lot of these equity firms right now are trying to compile as much cash as possible because they know there's going to be a sale.
Yes. Yep.
And again, and you were 100% right. They're getting the stuff that's on the market. We have the ability to get stuff off market, and so that kind of, it sort of levels the tables. I mean, they have deep pockets, but if they can't find the properties and we're finding them, we don't have to worry about them. I've never had to compete against them here locally.
And honestly, the requirements they have now for their lending are so onerous with the ESG stuff, the green action stuff that they're forcing down their business partners' throats, that, no offense to anybody on this call or any political stance on green this or green that. The reality is that nobody on this call has the compliance mechanisms and the team in place to manage the reporting they're going to require to maintain those properties in that loan. You don't, and you won't, period.
Right.
Like, they're not going to the mom and pops. If they're going to talk to somebody, they're going to talk to a conifer. They're not even going to talk to landsmen. Like, the landsmen, as big as they are, they're too small. Like, they're going to go to conifer. Morgan wouldn't have a chance. Bob Morgan would not have a chance. The Morgan out of Pennsylvania, I don't know, maybe. I'm not super familiar with those guys. And I know some guys that went over there, but they're still a family office, so I doubt that they have the parts in place. But like Solomon, Ashley Management, those guys, they would never play in that ballpark because it would cost them too much money just to do the reporting and crap.
I posted on Facebook an article by the Wall Street Journal on exactly this problem of ESG from the top down, and BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street, those three companies have trillions of dollars in assets that they're using to leverage ESG in many forms. And you're absolutely right, Andy, that it would take a large company just to manage the compliance under ESG mandates that it basically concentrates the wealth at the top.
So, yeah, so you guys, all right, you can hear me there. So one of the things too, with all this market changes, we're not going to have as bad of a meltdown way back when, but one of the things that I've been telling people is, because people are like, well, you know, what should I do? What should I do to get prepared, you know, for some of these properties? People won't be able to afford them. You know, some people bought adjustable rate mortgages, and then next thing you know, some of the people 5 years, they have to go back and refinance them out, and all of a sudden interest rates from 2.5% to 3% to 6%. They're probably going to go up again in September. So one of the things that I knew nothing about and I got really good at doing was short sales. And what's so funny is that over the last couple of months, I mean, for a while, I was hearing nothing about short sales. We just started that one deal I told you about from last night. She signed the paperwork last night at 5 o'clock, 5:30. That's a short sale. We got done doing another one a few weeks ago. We're going to see about possibly starting another one. And I knew nothing about that. But one of the things that's going to be coming out, there's going to be a lot more, get really educated in creative financing, get good as far as finding out about subject twos, whether it's short sales or whatever. There's going to be more opportunities. And it's just going to be able to figure out what's going to work best for some of these deals that are going to come our way. Okay. And, you know, I knew nothing about short sales back then. And soon as they started happening and they were becoming more and more prolific, they were just happening on such a huge basis, I got really good at them. And I didn't do a lot of it. We just had people in place to do it because I got educated. Now, you know, and I still did short sales throughout the years, but now they might become a little, they might be another option for us to be able to offer people who need to sell their properties and they're upside down. The one in Henrietta, it's about a $200,000 house. They owed $140,000. They haven't paid in years. With late fees, everything else, they're just over $200,000. The house needs $50,000 to $60,000 worth of work. Okay. And they're also divorcing. And and by the way, most people don't even know what a short sale is. I'll do a real quick 15-second story on that. What happened with her? The wife who I ended up talking to thought it was a scam. I educated her. It took me 15 minutes. And she was like, oh, okay. Yesterday, she went and signed the paperwork. I couldn't make it over there. The realtor met her over there for me. And when she walked in, she started crying. When she left, she actually smiled. The realtor said, Joe, she said to me, I feel like a heavy weight has just been lifted off my shoulders. The divorce, the house, the kids, stuff's going to be happening. Okay. So what the realtor brought that to me, couldn't list the property. And she really didn't know anything about, this is a real estate agent who's been doing this for a while, knew nothing about short sales. And it's like you watching me, watching Carl, watching grass grow. It takes a long time. She didn't want to deal with it. She likes doing regular residential real estate. She goes, Joe, I think, can you do anything with this? Boom, short sale. And all of a sudden we're off and moving forward. Okay. So you got to get yourself educated, figure out, because some people you may have to do, you may not think it's a deal. You may have to do a subject to, you may have to do some type of creative finance. Okay. Questions on any of this stuff, by the way?
Well, Joe, to be clear on short sales, I've done a few. As you know, it is a little frustrating. Time evolved. The entity that's in control is the lender. It's the bank. You're negotiating with them, and they control the transaction. They can say yes, they can say no. So that's what we're up against.
Yep.
They could be stupid, or they could be, nice about it.
Yep. I told the homeowner the exact same thing. I actually told her sometimes I deal with a bank, I have to hit myself over the head with a tack hammer 3 times, lower my IQ level, and then I can talk to the bank. Okay, so, you know, I told her it doesn't always work out. At the same time, it's a way out, because they have no way out of this house right now. Nothing. So it just gives them options. You know, I didn't want to do a subject to with that because it just needs an ungodly amount of money. You can't take it over because you're going to be upside down automatically. Again, some people don't know what subject to is. I'm just touching upon this because we're almost out of time here. We can talk about this and ask questions on another call. But I was able to offer her a way out of this. Okay. So understand with what's going on here, if you don't know, find someone who does and just start asking questions. That's what this group is here for. It's about getting educated.
Yeah, Joe, just to interject a bit here, Carl is making a good point that he made around subject twos. Clearly, as you indicated, Joe, you're going to see a lot of the techniques that were used back before the last rise in the real estate market. Those things are going to come back. One of the strategies that we used was we would do subject twos, but it was not the centerpiece of what we were trying to do. We had a number of subject twos that was just on the side. And if you had 15 of them out there, that was great. If they came through, that was great. If they didn't, okay, you still haven't really lost a lot. And so it became just another item that you had in your arsenal of real estate techniques that you will utilize. And I think that's still going to be the way that they'll be used in the future, because sometime you'll be doing a short sale and the bank will just say, okay, no. And then you go 6 months, you don't hear from them. And then they say, we want to close next week. You know, it was like unbelievable. And so you expect to have those things happen, but that's just sort of the way the beast works in this particular case.
Just make sure your numbers work. That's the biggest thing with all this change and all the craziness. Assume there's going to be, you know, a little bit of drop to equity value on the actual property versus what it's assessed at now, since Rochester just redid their assessments at the peak of stupidity. And make sure the numbers work. They have to work for as long as you have to hold that, and you have to build in all the delays in production, supply chain, shipping, labor challenges. Like, you can't do a 3-month flip anymore. They don't exist. Doesn't matter how good you are.
Yep.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
No way.
There's gonna be so much opportunity. Just the opportunity is going to be coming here. I mean, there was properties that I bought during the last downturn, which went up 4 or 5 times in value compared to the price that I bought them at. And this right here is where, as long as you do it legitimately to help people, this is where you can also create some serious wealth. Okay. And we're not just talking about a little bit here. Okay. So just, man, it's got, I wish we had more time to go over stuff, but unfortunately we don't. So I want to be respectful. I think we're almost out of time over here. And I'm going to hang. Oh, go ahead, Carl.
Oh, I mean, I was just going to make one comment, because it's sort of fundamental real estate investing. And the fundamental piece is it has to be a deal. And if you have a deal, that means a whole bunch of things come together. But the most important thing is the numbers must work. If the numbers don't work, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. I'm sorry. You're getting ready to blow your ankle off and your knee with the foot. Okay? The numbers have to work. And Joe, what is your comment about the minimums and the maximums?
I always make my minimums my maximums. That's it. Never make your maximums your minimums, because that's a straight highway to being broke.
Yeah, Yeah, it is one of the most important components.
Yeah.
Leon, you said make the numbers work. Well, as you know, I go down that road of making the real numbers work, the
Yes.
real numbers.
Yes.
Institutional numbers are different from the real numbers, and that's called knowing your market with the real numbers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but I'm going to stick around for a few more minutes. I know some people may have to drop off. If you do, we appreciate you being on here. Look forward to seeing you guys again. Go on the FFREIA website. Don't forget about next week with Carl. And then the main meeting. Everybody have a great night. If you have a few more questions, whatever, to talk, whatever, I'll hang out for a few more minutes. But thank you very much. Everybody have a great night.
Thanks, Joe.
I have a question, just a quick question. Do you guys really expect a downturn in the pricings of houses or just kind of a leveling off,
I mean,
not increasing?
I mean, maybe just a little bit. I mean, look, Rochester never gets hit as bad as all these other big cities, you know, but you got to be prepared. I'm not paying regular prices. I know a guy right now fixed up a house, sold it for 99. The buyer got dequalified because the interest rates went up.
Yep.
It's in a C area. It's fantastically beautiful. It's sitting on the market now, one offer. And
That's not Brian's, is it?
No, it's a guy. You don't know who he is. He's an investor. He does around 30 plus flips a year. Plus, he also owns commercial stuff. He owns storage. He owns stuff in Henrietta. He's all over the place, and that's just one of the stories.
Yep.
One of them.
Yeah, and we're seeing it across the board because the interest rates are putting it to a point where people are getting priced out. A 1% increase prices out, like, I think the first two priced out like 1.6 million potential buyers, something like that.
Yeah, I saw that.
And I think this most recent 75 or 750 basis points or whatever drove it to like stupid numbers. So like a guy who could afford a $360,000 house a month ago now can't get qualified for 210,000. That's a whole lot less house. A lot less house. So, and it's going to continue happening. So what's going to happen is there's going to be downward pressure on the values of homes. And there's already downward pressure on margins for building materials and products because like lumber came down because demand dropped, like a freaking brick wall demand dropped. It had nothing to do with production levels, nothing to do with tariffs from Canada, everything to do with the fact that people went, I'm not ordering anything else because this is going to get really bad really fast. And here we are. But we're going to see a lot of pressures on a lot of stuff that's going to drive prices down because people just aren't going to be able to pay the bills. I mean, for the first time, I think in like 10 years, there was a news article that said that car loan repossessions have now started and people are defaulting on their car loans left and right. And it's only a matter of time before that goes to credit cards and then it'll go to houses. So we're going to see, is it going to be as bad as 08? I don't know that the banks got as lax with lending requirements with homeowners as they did in like 2000 to 2006. There's still some shady stuff that went on, but nowhere near as bad, I hope. So you're not going to see 40% drops in Chicago and 35% drops in Dallas, but you'll see 20. Like there's builders. Right now they did a survey of guys that participate in the NAHB on some of the councils, and their margins since the mid 2020 to April of this year were 33%. Normal margins for a new home builder, track builder, is in the mid to low 20s. So they have 13% to just drop prices to move inventory. But once that 13% is gone, then you're going to see margins really start to take a hammering, and it's going to get like, it's going to be a bloodbath for a lot of small guys who don't have 13% to cut off their bottom line or their top line and still stay in business. It's going to get bad. Like rising tide lifts all ships. You're going to see a lot of people who made a lot of bad decisions in their real estate investing who were successful on paper because the market was hot. And now that the market's becoming challenging, they're going to get punched in the face.
Yep.
And they're going to get out of it. And that's your opportunity to bite.
Excuse me, but Andy, you're right about that for the residential, but I've been wanting to bring this up for about a few minutes now, but in the commercial side of things, on my side, I gotta tell you guys, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I hope the market takes a dump, because this is translates to heaven for me. And here's why, is because as the market goes, is pressured, cap rates go up. And when cap rates go up, I can go and buy a piece of property or storage facility at 12 cap if I wanted to, because it's just the way the things work. And I understand there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of movement in what you're talking about, Andy. But when I make that call in 2-3 months, I'm just speculating here, they're gonna say, they told me today it's gonna be $1 million. Well, like I said before, I can buy it at 650, 500,000 cash, and because it depends, I guess, on what side of the coin you're on, or what side of the real estate business you're on, I suppose. But that's just what I see. What I'm seeing now, as a matter of fact.
Yep, no, totally. Flippers are going to take it on the chin for a while. And you're going to see people with Airbnbs and vacation areas, they're going to lose a lot of market because people aren't going to have the money to actually go on vacation. They're paycheck to paycheck now. And they're estimating that we're going to see food price increases starting this month that are going to exceed what we've already seen in the last 2 years. So it's going to get bad.
I know wholesalers that some of the wholesalers have been reaching out to me. I had a guy yesterday, and his prices were, so he was trying to get rid of these 2 properties. And I told him, I said there was no way. He wanted 110 for both of them. And I told him I can buy him. I buy him over there for, I can buy both of them for right around 60. Okay. 65, maybe 70,000. He wanted 110 for both of them. And I said, I can't make those numbers work. And he was like, holy smokes, I may have to go back and renegotiate. So I mean, it's not like doom and gloom. It's just that you have to be prepared. I don't want to be holding a hot potato. I know people right now that are, they can't sell their house. They're gonna have to use them as rentals. I know people have $200,000 in the house. They got to rent it out. They got no choice.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, that's what happened during the last downturn. Spall, they were building 6,000 square foot spec homes. They furnished them and leased them as executive rentals because they couldn't sell the house because there was no market. People couldn't afford it, so they rented them out. And you're talking about a legacy multi-million-dollar home builder who knew what they were doing and got their butts kicked from like 2007 to 2012, basically.
Wow.
Yeah. There's going to be stuff coming. I'm not doom and gloom. I just want to be prepared, because now it's a question of, all right, how can we help these people out? Especially you, Gabe, in commercial. Some of those people, they have adjustable rate mortgages. They're usually callable within 5 years, and they have to refinance it out. They bought them at probably at 4%, and now they're going to be what, 7%, maybe a little bit higher than that, because commercial is always higher. And they may say, listen, we changed our parameters. They have to charge even more. So there may be some meat on the bone, but they may be happy to get rid of that storage facility, that commercial building, that apartment complex, strip plazas, all that stuff.
Oh, yeah. The guy I was talking today, the one I made an offer to, the guy in Kentucky, I keep on saying Kentucky, but so forgive me if it's Kansas or Kentucky, but in any event though, he told me though that he has a piece of property, a plaza, I think it is. It's triple net. He goes, I want to sell that too. He goes, he's trying to get rid of things. He's retiring, but he wants to get rid of things because he knows how the market's headed towards too. So what he's telling me goes, I know you're not into plazas, but if you know of anyone that wants to buy a plaza and we can work on the negotiation of numbers, please let me know. I said, I'll tell you what. I said, if you give me the price I want in that storage facility, I will do my best, my damnedest to get you that buyer for that plaza that you want, because I know what he wants. And it goes back to what you said, Joe, by the way, Joe, too, is to help people. We're trying to have a solution for people as well. So, he presented that problem to me. I want to make a good friend out of him too, but But yeah, people just want to sell things now before it takes up. The guy I talked to in Arkansas today, he goes, I got to sell this before the market takes it up. He said, literally, he told me, the market's going to take a shit. I got to sell them now. No lie, So,
Yeah.
hopefully we can do something.
Yeah.
He knows.
There's gonna be stuff going on, and it's just, you're prepared. A lot of people are.
It's going to separate the wheat from the chaff. The people who made bad decisions or got there based on, I mean, not that this isn't hard work and you got to work hard to be successful. There's some people who made some dumb gambles where the numbers didn't work and they were hoping to survive on cash flow and good looks. And I hope their podcast gets some sponsors because they're not going to be making money soon.
Well,
Just saying.
like I made sure to get rid of whatever properties they need to get rid of prior to everything starting to happen, and so it was one that was, well, it's because of the contractor, but everything else we've got is gone. And so the stuff that we have now is we bought them at fantastic prices, bottom line. So, which again, I readjusted. You say no problem. Next, let somebody else take it. Joe, I bought that property. Are you? I'm thinking to myself, okay, I think you're crazy, but
So Joe, you said you got rid of what you needed to get rid of. What was your criteria?
The flip properties. We were doing C-type areas. We're making, we were making, the same amount of return with actually higher returns because we're putting in less money into the properties. And so the C areas, the D areas, those really got hit. Those are just more for investments or whatever. Those aren't too bad. But anything that was like the C type areas, first time home buyers, like again, we wanted to make sure to get rid of that stuff because we just didn't want to get stuck with it. Okay, you want it? We took the offer, grateful over greedy, as they say. And so now if we get stuff, we know. I don't want to be like some people like, well, Joe, instead of getting a home run, if I get to second base, that's not going to work. I don't like that. No freaking way. I want to know. I want to make sure that that the deal is going to work. It's about almost 20 minutes to 9. Well, hopefully everybody's going to get busy doing some real estate this week. Well, so is everybody all set?
Just don't forget to answer your phone tomorrow, Joe. That's all I say, buddy.
Listen, I don't even want to hear hello. I want to hear the pencil sharpener going because I know you're sharpening your pencil. That's what I want to hear, the old time pencil sharpener. That's what I want to hear.
I love it.
Yeah. You better be sharp. I mean, surgically sharp. We're going to talk some numbers tomorrow.
Okay. I better get a glass of scotch then.
You better tell Scott. All right. Everybody's all set.
Yep.
Everybody's good.
Good night,
Thank you very
everybody.
much, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Go do real estate. Have a great night.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys.